So our next presenter is a man who truly knows the power of transformation. I've known Anthony for nearly a decade. I've seen him work tirelessly to help countless young men get their education. To give us some insight into the transformation process in prison, please welcome Anthony Wright.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Wright, and I'm one of those presenters that either you really like or you can't stand, because I require some interaction with the people that I'm speaking to. So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I feel the love. Today, we're here to have an open and honest discourse about some very important issues: sentence reform, second chance legislation, death penalty, life penalty, 3 strikes, restorative justice, juvenile sentence review. But I would like to draw attention to one of the reasons why it is important that we have this discussion: human transformation. Is human transformation possible other than physiologically speaking? There are some who believe that you were one way, you're still that way, and you'll be that way forever. So it's a debatable topic. But can we all agree that any real transformation begins on the inside? We should be able to. Your presence today bears witness to that fact, because you all felt compelled to come inside to work on this ineffective, unsustainable, disproportionate justice system. And in the same light, a human transformation, a positive personal transformation, begins on the inside. My definition is a change in the structure of who you are. A core change that only happens when you begin to think differently, when you place value on life, on time, and on others. See, a person couldn't persuade me to believe that transformation isn't possible, because I see it every day. Whether it be through the Black Business Caucus and the work we do in Career Bridge, helping young men find alternative ways to thinking about their freedom and giving them the tools to do something different, or whether it's in the University Beyond Bars, helping men build confidence at pursuing a higher education, I see transformation. I witnessed transformation for many years when I worked out at Edmonds Community College, which is the educational site here at WSR. And I was able to help men, tutor them to get their GED, which, other than when my family comes to visit, that's been the highlight of my time incarcerated. Because I got to see that light bulb come on in someone's eyes when they have that moment that, I can do this. And they realize their worth and potential, and they begin to live accordingly in spite of their current circumstances. It's a powerful thing to see when someone realizes that their ability to grow and change is based upon the amount of insecurities they're willing to face. I know men who challenge their insecurities day in and day out, weeks on end, months on end, for years. I see true transformation, but guess what? The public doesn't. The public has no idea of all the positive changes going on in here, except for a few examples, like Stephen Dozier, Vance Bartley, Gerald Hankerson, missed you, we miss you, you back there, Jeff Casey. And to put it into context, all 4 of those men were sentenced to life in prison and have since been released by way of clemency or a change in law. And I must tell you that being released by clemency or a change in law has the odds of winning the lottery. I'm not talking about a quick pick or scratch and sniff or whatever you guys got out there right now. I'm talking about the big one. Actually, it's like those men would have had a better chance of winning American Idol, all 4 of them as a group. I don't know if y'all heard Vance sing. But seriously, that's 4 in 17,000. 4 in 17,000 men incarcerated, and that's the public perception. That's not an accurate representation. But don't get me wrong, they are an accurate representation because they're proof that transformation is possible. They're also proof of what's been created behind these walls and the walls of other institutions, transformers. Those who have made a transformation and are working to facilitate that transformation in others, who can make a real difference to public safety. Because it'd be a fool to believe that the public is motivated to get behind the release of just another law-abiding citizen. Where's their incentive in that? That's one less place to live, one less job, a few less resources, right? One more Facebook friend request, like you need those. But I bet they would be ready to get behind the release of someone who they knew and believed was about transforming the lives of others, especially those who may be headed down the same destructive path. I wish you could see what I see. I know a man who was sentenced to life in prison who, for years, struggled to get his GED. I mean, struggled. This is my intense face. For years, he struggled to get his GED. And he's the first person that made me concede to the fact that there is such a thing as not a math person. Who would have thought that? I'm a math person, so I'm biased. When someone would say, I'm just not a math person, I would just say, you're just not studying. But in his case, I was wrong, and he had to put in extra effort. And it wasn't a smooth road. It was times when he would question the importance of math and wanted to quit or take a break, as he called it. And I would use some positive peer pressure. I remember one time saying to him, hey, if you were in a boxing match and someone hit you in the chin really hard, boop, knocked you down, would you look up at him and say, I quit? Let's just say he gave me a real strong no, an emphatic one. And I said, well, math is kicking your ass. What you gonna do? Why you gotta put it like that? But he kept going. And he went through teacher after teacher, TA after TA, and he finally got that GED. And when he did graduate, when he gave his acceptance speech, it was really hard to keep a dry eye in the room. Some of his TAs sighed really long, so you either cried or sighed. It was definitely a reaction. That man is David Conyers. Yeah. And I'm making notice of David Conyers because he could have easily taken the defeatist attitude. He was sentenced to life in prison at a young age. But no, he's an example of perseverance. And his new accomplishments have given him this confidence in doing the right thing, no matter how long it takes and no matter how hard it is. Wish you guys could see this. The other week, we were in the Black Prisoners Caucus meeting, and someone made the mistake of saying that they didn't know how to find the percentage of some number. And you should have seen this man. He jumped up, grabbed a marker, went to the board. We didn't ask him to. You take the part and put it over the whole, and it's like a proportion. You have to multiply and then divide. It blew me away. It moved me because I know what this man went through. We're talking about someone asking or questioning the importance of math to understanding the importance of making sure that someone did not leave that room without that knowledge. The light in him, he lit a spark in someone else. I see these transformations, and there are more David Conyers and more Vance Bartleys and Stephen Dozier's and Gerald Hendersons and Jeff Casey's behind these walls who have done decades, made a transformation, and still have decades to do. Why? Because there are no measures for this transformation. I think when we understand when and how a person makes a positive transformation, it becomes realistic to justify leniency, forgiveness, a second chance. But as the system stands now, it's not doing all it can to detect when a person has made a transformation, or better yet, when a transformer has been created. And you taxpayers, the frustration you feel at having to house men and women across this state for years, decades, to no avail is understandable. And I'm here to tell you that it will not subside. That frustration will not subside until we find a way to properly assess whether, when, how, and to what extent prisoners are changing. The return on your investment hinges upon those returning to the community. And I would be remiss if I did not say that I personally, and the men that I speak for, realize that we do not have the right to measure our worth up against the value of the lives that were lost or harmed, or the pain we've caused families and many others by our past actions. We would only hope that it becomes apparent that more transformers are needed out there in the community to help curb the creation of new victims of horrible and senseless crime. Transformation, a change in the structure of who you are, a core change that only happens when you begin to think differently, when you place value on life, on others, and on time. And as you hear from these men today, and you see the faces of life, please keep something in mind. The courts can mete out punishment. They can impose fines and restitution, but they can't mandate a transformation. It's self-imposed. Thank you.